Well, that was a twisted episode. I never would have thought Deku Mori would have been, oh, senpai to freaking Mori Summers of all things. This episode had the right amount of comedy. It wasn't lovey-dovey, as we saw the past couple episodes of Season 2, but it had just a right amount of cute moments, adorable moe, to where my kawaii level was off the charts again this episode, and Kyo-on is doing great with Season 2. I mean, I'm not one, I don't like seeing girls cry, but I mean, when you get to see freaking Deku Mori just crying her eyeballs out, I was like, oh, Mori Summers, Nobitama Senpai, I was like, oh my, this is just, it's so cute. Now, I mean, they had the right amount of animation. I mean, Kyo-on always had great freaking animation, but they really used all the stops they possibly could in this episode. I mean, that way they managed to make the interactions between the characters of Deku Mori and Nobitani was a great job. They did a good job of emphasizing these two characters. I've always had some form of rivalry since the first season. And get to see an entire reverse of that, where you got freaking Deku Mori just being completely downright nice to her, was something that made me weirded out, like, what? But at the same time kept me interested to know how the hell is this going to work. And then when you see how freaking Nobitani wants to become the student council president, I knew something bad was going to happen. I mean, when you have Deku Mori, as we all know, always messes with Mori Summers, always picks on her, does something, and then she all of a sudden is on her side wanting to help her out with student council president, I knew something bad was going to happen when she got to the election speech. And when you saw freaking, oh man, when you saw Deku Mori grab that freaking massive book that I think is the biggest freaking book, I mean, I don't even have a book that big. I mean, it was freaking insane. It was just massive. That thing had to have over 2,000 pages. And Mori Summers wrote that? And it looks handmade. So, that is crazy. And so, when you see Deku Mori just grab this big freaking book up, sit it on the podium in front of everybody in the freaking entire auditorium, and she says, Chapter 1, Verse 4. I was like, oh my god, that's only chapter 1? I was like, this is crazy. It's got its own freaking verses and chapters. I mean, that is, well, you know, I'll say, Mori Summers, man, you definitely have the greatest freaking Chuuni I've ever seen in this series. I mean, yeah, she was higher than Rika, I think, or Sophia, because of the way she would take the time to probably write that book. And I don't know why she hasn't burnt that yet. If that makes her so freaking embarrassed, I would have burnt that book long ago, or maybe she has some form of emotional attachment to it. I have no clue, but this episode had some great freaking comedy. By far, the funniest episode of Season 2, because almost every little section I was laughing or doing, oh, or you just, you know, smiling the entire episode, which was good. I mean, this episode all around, it managed to, I guess, progress characters, not actually in a sense with the actual plot. It could have, this episode's kind of maybe pointless in a certain aspect, but at the same time, it is a really good episode that manages you to feel like you're really watching Chuuni in a nice, good Kyo-on anime. And so, this anime did good. I think it did good. Not the best episode ever in the series, but it was nice for anyone that was a Deku Mori fan or a Mori Summers fan to be able to watch this episode, especially when you get to see roles like this. Now, Rika, she really didn't have much really good moments this episode. Of course, we had the entire part with Dark Flame Master doing his freaking Chuuni, where he's like, oh, my head is taking over me. And you have Rika about to freaking attack him. He's like, wait, where'd Deku Mori go? So, we got to see Dark Flame Master. I noticed he's been reoccurring a lot more in Season 2 than he did in Season 1. I mean, has anyone else not noticed that? I mean, Dark Flame Master is really starting to appear more, and hopefully we might get to see another side of our main character Yuta actually get turned into a Chuuni again, or at the very least go over into that path slowly, which would be really cool. I mean, it's an interesting concept because, I mean, since Sophia's here and we found out that Sophia made Yuta actually into what he was in the past in his middle school days, I could see how, you know, he might go back into that form again with Sophia being around, with Rika being Chuuni. Mori Summers looks like she's going back in her old antics of being dressed up like a freaking priestess or whatever. Was freaking awesome. So anyways, this is going to be the end of my anime review on Chuuni Season 2. Tell me what you think about this episode. What you think about the animation. What you think about the character development. What you think about that animation. Y'all wonderful day or not, wherever you live. Please stay safe. Chibi out.